Hello coders! This video tutorial demonstrates how to use Thunkable to create the I Have a Dream app. Some students may be waiting to receive IT support or school-issued devices, and they may choose to use Thunkable as a temporary alternative to MIT App Inventor, as the former is built upon the latter's open source code. I'm new to Thunkable, and we can expect this tutorial to be quite bumpy, but I will model a growth mindset, and I hope you adopt one too. I want to thank you in advance for your patience. We start here at Thunkable's webpage, thunkable.com. I'm going to sign up for a new account. I'm going to sign up with Google. You can use your school account. I'm going to let them know who I am. I'm a teacher. You can choose student. And I'm going to skip the welcome and refresh my page here. All right, we have a start building option here. For this tutorial, I'm going to provide you with a link to a starter app or a template. So let's give that a try. Excellent. So here we have a starter app, which includes some media that's already been uploaded. Let's take a moment to get oriented to what we see here on the screen. I'm going to start here on the left, and I'm going to hide this panel, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. That looks good. So we have three basic areas of the screen in front of us. Over on the left, we have some drawers that allow us to add components to our app. In the middle of our screen, we have a simulated phone or tablet screen. This is where we're going to develop our app's user interface or UI. And then over on the right side of the screen, we have the components and specifically the properties of the components that we can change to customize our app and be creative. This is one of my favorite places to play around. Back over to the left side of the screen, I'm going to scroll a little bit here, and I'm going to notice that there are some files that have already been uploaded to this starter app to make your life a little easier. So here is a JPEG file. This is a picture of Martin Luther King. Next below that, we have a Malcolm X file, also a JPEG. It appears to be 152 by 129 pixels. Below here, we have another file, although I can't see the file extension, so I'm not quite sure if this is a picture or a sound file. I'm guessing that PX means it's probably a picture file. We also have another JPEG file, and then down at the bottom here, we have some MP3 files, which you might recognize as a sound or audio file. So again, all of these files are already uploaded for you in this template to make your life a little bit easier. That's going to allow us to spend most of our time today developing our user interface and adding some code which will give our app some functionality. This app is going to be quite simple, and it's just meant to get your feet wet. So I think one of the first things I'd like to add to my app is a label. So over on the left-hand side here, there's a list of components, and the second component is a label. And if I click and drag that to the center of my screen, I can drop that right on top of my phone screen. Now that I have that label, I'm going to come up here to the right-hand side, and I'm going to rename that component so I know what its purpose is. I'm going to delete the 1, add an underscore, and say this is going to be my label that tells people the directions for my app. So this is my label directions, and I can press enter. Next, over on the right side of my screen, I have the properties for that component, for that label. I have some simple properties and some advanced properties. I'm going to start here with my simple properties. I don't want it to say label. I think for this one, I'm going to tell my user to touch the picture to hear speech. That will make a little bit more sense in a moment. And I'll press enter. Notice that I can adjust some other properties of this label, such as the font size or the number of lines or the color. I do have a lot of fun playing with colors on my app. I can change the background color, the font style, the weight, the alignment. But for now, I think we're good. That label will do its job. Next, over here on the left side of my screen, I'm now going to drag out a new kind of component, a button. And so I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to try to drop this button right below the label. That's kind of strange. I tried to drop it below my label, but it appeared on top of my label. I'm not going to worry too much about that. So again, I'm modeling a growth mindset here, and I'm just trying to experiment and be adventurous. I trust that if something doesn't work, I'll be able to fix it, and I also trust that I'm not going to break anything. So again, I've just added a new component on the right side of my screen here. I'm going to rename this. This button is going to be for Martin Luther King. So I'm going to remove the 1 and do an underscore MLK. So now I have a button for Martin Luther King. And if I scroll down here on my component properties, I see there is a background picture property. And so if I click where it says no file source, I now have some options, and I can choose mlk.jpg. And when I do that, I see a very small picture of Martin Luther King here on my user interface, and I'd like to change that so it's more visible. I also see that this word button is appearing across Martin Luther King's picture, and that's kind of distracting. So if I scroll up here in my properties, I can now delete the word button, and I just see Martin Luther King's picture here. I'd like to make that picture a lot larger, so I want to change the properties for the height and width. If I scroll down here, I do see some height and width properties in my simple properties. I see margin and padding and border. I'm more familiar with MIT App Inventor, which has things laid out a little differently. So I'm going to click over here to Advanced. And in Advanced, I also see sizing. So if I click on sizing and expand that, I now have width properties and height properties, and these look more familiar to me. This is much closer to what we see in MIT App Inventor. So I think for my width, I'm going to type 200 pixels. And then for my height, I'm also going to type 200 pixels. And I think that looks a lot better. So now I can recognize Martin Luther King there in that button. And I think that's just about going to do it for my user interface. There is one more component we need to add, and this is known as an invisible or non-visible component, and that is the audio sound player that we're going to use to play Martin Luther King's speech. Over on the left here, it's not immediately visible like button and label were, so I'm going to search for this in my search bar on the left. For add components, I'm going to search for sound. And I see that there is a sound file right here. I'm sorry, a sound player right here that will play sound files, and that's the one I need. Also over on the left here, there is a region where I can drag invisible components. So now that I've found that sound player, I can drag the sound player up here onto this target, drag invisible components here, and let go. And a couple things should happen. One of which is I should be able to see that player appear on the left. It took a few seconds. And secondly, I now see that sound player here towards the bottom of my user interface. So if you have your label and you have your button and you have your sound player, your user interface is now complete. We might customize it later, but let's jump over to the blocks. So we have spent the last few minutes in the design screen of Thunkable, where we design our user interface. The block screen right here is where we add our functionality. I click on blocks and I have a totally new look here. So I have a large white workspace where I can develop my code and my functionality. Over on the left, I have a bunch of drawers that allow me to drag out different blocks that will do different things. And I also see some familiar components over on the left. And this is one of the reasons why we wanted to rename our components so we know exactly what they are and we can keep track of how our user interface interacts with our code. This is a very simple app with just a few components, but you can imagine a more advanced app might have 10, 20, or even 100 components, and renaming them as we did is very important. So on the left here, I'm going to find my button MLK component, and I'm going to click, and that's going to open up a drawer, which allows me to look at a lot of different options for what I want that button to do and how I want that button to behave. I'm going to find this third option, which is when button MLK touch down, do something. I'm going to click and drag this block out into my workspace. This block is known as an event handler. This block will wait for an event to happen, and when that event happens, it will execute or do all of the instructions that you have listed inside of the event handler. We just want our button to have a simple functionality. We want it to play Martin Luther King's speech. So we're going to now go to our sound component on the left, and clicking on that sound component, we're going to find this purple block and drag this out, and we're going to drop that into our event handler. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky on different devices. Maybe you have a touch screen, maybe you're using a mouse, and it might take a few attempts to get that in place. You should hear a satisfying click when it is in place, and then eventually, there we go. So that's what it should look like. I'm going to jump back to my button MLK drawer here, and I'm going to again click, and this time I'm going to look for the fourth option here. This is a similar event handler. It says when button MLK touch up. I'm going to drag this one out to my workspace, and when somebody touches up or releases the button, I want it to pause my sound or my speech. So I'm going to drag out this purple pause block. And that should about do it for the blocks and the functionality of our app. Now, our app is actually not going to work because there's a little bit of a bug here. I'm going to kind of give away the punchline. We are going to be using a live test in a moment, and if we were to do a live test now, we would discover that our app actually doesn't play the speech. And so I'm going to spoil that hidden bug by revealing it now. That bug can be solved by jumping back to our designer screen, finding our sound component, and then over on the right side of our sound component properties, we see that we have not yet told the app what sound should be played when somebody runs that component. So I'm going to click on No File Source, and again I see some familiar media files. Just a warning here, if you were to click on one of these JPEG files, it would allow you to put the JPEG there, but a JPEG is a picture, not a sound or audio file. So please make sure you find this file here near the bottom. This is the king.mp3 file. Once I choose that source, I can also set a volume. Volume is usually like a percentage from 0 to 100, so I think 50 might be a reasonable volume. And there we go. So that should solve the bug that I missed when I first set up my designer. This should complete my app. So our next step now is to test the functionality of our app. If I come up here to the top ribbon on Thunkable, I see there's a live test option. When I click here, it takes a little bit of time. On the left-hand side of my screen here, I see my familiar label, touch the picture to hear the speech. It did take a few seconds to load the picture, and that's now appearing. So if I click and hold the picture, I'm hoping that the speech plays. And if I release the picture, I'm hoping that the speech stops. I do want to stress that the way I've coded it, it's a click and hold to hear. So if I were to do a quick click with my mouse, I might not hear anything. Or if I did a quick touch with my finger on a touch screen, I might not hear anything. So let's see how it works. All right, I just released, and so it appears that my app is functioning as intended. If I now X out of this screen, I might come back here and I might continue to play around, and I would encourage you to do this as well. App creation is all about your creativity and expressing your personal interests. And so, if you want to customize the picture, if you want to customize the colors or the fonts, that could be a lot of fun. I'll just do one quick thing here. I'm going to see if I can find my screen one component. Here it is on the top left. If I click on screen one, I can come over here to background color and I can change my background color. I love green, so maybe that's how I personalize my app. There's thousands of other ways to personalize your app, and I'll leave it up to you to experiment and be adventurous. Happy coding!